Dear citizens of Israel, my beloved brothers and sisters, the battle is not over yet. But even now we can say very clearly we have historic achievements. I want to remind you where we were. Iran tried to surround us with a noose. Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Assad regime in Syria, the militias in Iraq, the Houthis in Yemen, and Iran itself. In other words, they wanted to suffocate us, and now we are suffocating them. They threatened us with annihilation, and now they are struggling to survive. We hit them, we still have more to do, and I'll explain that in detail in a moment. But I want to start precisely with Iran, with the head of the octopus. Because I dedicated a significant part of my life to preventing one thing: that this regime of terror obtains nuclear weapons, through which it seeks to exterminate the Jewish state and put an end to Jewish history. I spoke about this in Congress, at the UN, and in several parliaments. I approved all kinds of actions, most of them secret, to delay them, and in fact we did delay them. But the world didn't listen. Many said, but it's not that serious. It's not even that serious for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I heard these voices not only from outside, I even heard them from within our own ranks. And I, as the Prime Minister of Israel and head of the Jewish state, the one and only, that is something I could never accept in any way. And the great change happened that night of Kelavi, when I solemnly announced to all of you that our brave pilots were flying in the skies of Iran. Flying in the skies of Iran and successfully hitting targets all across Iran. We were truly the first to break the barrier of fear, that deep fear of acting inside Iran itself. And I remember very well how I felt at that moment, such intense emotion, such immense pride, and so many chills all over my body. And I know that all of you feel it too, and you have felt it. We were the first to take the initiative because we were fully aware of everything that was at stake. But if I had told all of you a year ago that our pilots would be flying in Iran, who among you would have believed it? And if I had told you a year ago that the United States of America, the strongest power in the world, would fight by our side, shoulder to shoulder, wing to wing, for almost 40 days against the common enemy, who would have believed it? But all of that happened. Because we took the initiative, we acted, we attacked. And why did we join the campaign? Because Iran was very close to obtaining nuclear weapons and gaining the capability to produce missiles. Thousands of missiles. Not just a handful of missiles per day, but hundreds falling on us daily. Two existential dangers that we needed to avert. If we hadn't launched Operation Amkalb and then Lion's Roar, Iran would already have atomic bombs. We prevented that. I'll explain how we stopped that. Because before Operation Amkalb, this time I received precise and real-time intelligence information which told us that Iran was beginning to act to turn enriched uranium into a nuclear weapon. And the moment we received that intelligence information, we took action. We eliminated 12 of their top nuclear scientists, and we attacked their nuclear facilities together with our American friends. Do you remember the attack on Fordo with the B-2? What an excellent job they did. And we also attacked missile depots and hundreds of launchers, and all of that pushed away from us a double and immediate existential threat. But after Yam Caleb, a few months later, I once again received precise intelligence, and once again, it was timely. And that intelligence showed that Khamenei ordered to renew and even expand both the nuclear industry and the missile industry. I use the word industry because it refers to something much broader: underground. He wanted to hide both the missile production and the nuclear production deeply under a high mountain in such a way that not even B-2 planes could reach it. And again, we couldn't stand by, so we acted. We eliminated 8 more nuclear scientists involved in assembling and producing the weapon. It's not just about enriched uranium. Without them, it's impossible to make atomic bombs. We destroyed the heavy water plant in Iraq. We destroyed all the centrifuge infrastructure, as well as the uranium production factory. In other words, we've basically reached the point where Iran doesn't have a single active enrichment facility, and most of their missile production capability has disappeared. They still have missiles. They have a stockpile of missiles, but it's running out. In other words, we've managed to dismantle the nuclear program, the missile program. And we also had another objective: to dismantle the regime in Iran and significantly weaken it. At the lowest level, the weakest since the establishment of the regime 47 years ago. Let me tell you what we did. We eliminated the supreme leader, Khamenei, his successor, Rajani, the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Intelligence, the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, the Commander of Operations of the Quds Force, the commanders of the Revolutionary Guard, those of the Basij, the top ranks of the security leadership, the intelligence leadership, Air Force officers, the person responsible for drones, the financier of terrorism, the commander of the Iranian Navy, the fleet in the Caspian Sea, dozens of Revolutionary Guard and internal security barracks, dozens of helicopters and transport planes, the Revolutionary Guard's money machine. This is the steel industry in Iran and 3/4 of Iran's petrochemical factories. This is what the Revolutionary Guard lives on. We attacked Iran's largest gas plant, fuel depots, connections and railways that were used to transport troops and weapons, dozens of factories in the military industry, and there are still many, many other details. I'm sparing you, but we did not spare them. We made a huge change here. There are people who say we have no achievements, no major achievements, and this is reflected in this weakened regime that begs and pleads for a ceasefire. This is reflected in internal conflicts. At the top, we know that. We see their increasing difficulty in meeting the needs of the citizens. This is reflected in a profound weakening of the terror regime. Iran is no longer the same Iran, and Israel is no longer the same Israel either. Those who once threatened to destroy us are now fighting for their own survival. And as for Tamlan Arms, we've also done great things there. First of all, we established a rule. Israel, we will not tolerate a situation where terrorist organizations are positioned on our border. That's why we created deep security zones in enemy territory. In Gaza, we control more than 50% of the Strip. We are surrounding Hamas from all sides and we will deal with them. In Syria, we are at the top of Mount Hermon and we have reached as far as Yarmouk, and we are handling things there as well, just as I took care of our Druze allies, our brothers. In Lebanon, there was a radical change. Do you remember Nasrallah? He used to brag, what did he call us, the Jews, cobwebs? Well, he was eliminated. And what we eliminated along with him was his enormous missile arsenal, a stockpile of 150,000 missiles and rockets that we destroyed in 6 hours, the vast majority. There were still a few rockets left for them. We're dealing with that, but they planned something else. They planned for thousands of terrorists from the Radwan force to arrive disguised at the border, invade, and conquer Galilee. We eliminated that threat. We conquered, above all, we killed many of them. We destroyed the entire underground network they prepared, the tunnels, the terrorist villages, and we created a security zone of 8 to 10 kilometers to keep the missile threat away from our communities. We're still fighting them, it's not over. You saw, just a few days ago, we carried out the biggest operation since the beepers. We eliminated hundreds of terrorists at once in just 10 minutes, and we're not done yet. This has been going on the whole time. We're fighting against Hezbollah because it's decided for me to restore security to the residents of the north. They deserve it, just like all the citizens of Israel. I want to tell you what happened here. As a direct result of this show of strength, Lebanon contacted us last month. They reached out to us on several different occasions to initiate direct peace negotiations. That has never happened to us in history. Actually, that happened once, decades ago, but now they reached out to us and I approved it on 2 conditions. We want to achieve the disarmament of Hezbollah, and we want a true peace agreement, a peace agreement that will last for generations. I have one more thing to say. Lebanon isn't the only one seeking us out. Many other countries, both in the Middle East and outside of it, are seeking cooperation and alliances with us because they see our strength. Strength brings people closer, just as weakness drives them away. Strength brings people closer. And today, Israel is stronger than ever. This little Israel may be small in territory, but giant in its spirit and unwavering determination, has become the strongest regional power. Everyone understands this, and in certain aspects, also a world power. So they tell us there are no achievements? There are huge achievements here. This is a historic change. We crushed the nuclear program, we crushed the missiles, we crushed the regime. We have an unprecedented alliance with our great friend, the President of the United States, with the Israel Defense Forces. Between the Israel Defense Forces and, of course, the United States Army. Relations that have never existed before. Now, these achievements are not over yet. There is still enriched material in Iran, and as President Trump said, it needs to be removed. Either it will be removed by agreement or it will be removed in other ways. But we are working in cooperation between me and President Trump, between Israel and the United States like never before. These are achievements that change the entire balance of power. Israel is a different Israel, stronger than ever. And how did we achieve all this? Or before that, I need to say, there are those who belittle these achievements. They diminish them. Of course, first of all, Iran and Iran's propaganda echo in our communication channels, and the propaganda of our political opponents echoes in Iran's media. But that doesn't change the truth. There is a huge, gigantic change here, and it is happening thanks to our brave pilots, our brave female pilots, and our ground crews who work tirelessly. To our heroic commanders and soldiers, to those who gave their lives for us, and to the wounded, both in body and soul, to whom we wish a speedy recovery. And this is happening thanks to you, citizens of Israel, who have stood firm the entire time. I salute you, and this is happening thanks to the brave, determined, and sensible decisions of the government under my leadership. And I want to tell you, we are not done yet. They will rise up with the strength of the dogs of the universe and roar like lions, and with God's help, we will continue to act together and keep on winning.